Hello all and welcome to the channel. Today I am taking a look at Cargo Empire, a game all about transporting goods across Europe here in this case. And there is another side to the board which is a little bit more fantasy based, which I've yet to try but it looks really cool. Now I have played this 2 players and 3 players. It's got a player range of 1 to 5, so loads of options there. That's solo option as well, which is really nice to chuck in. Would I want to play it at 5? Probably not. I think 3-4 players is probably where this game is at. Worked well at 2 as well. And that's pretty much it. It's a medium complexity game. Probably upper. It looks more complex than it actually is. But hopefully I'm going to go really step by step and just give you guys a good understanding of what is going on here. So you've got Europe here, and as I say, there's another side to the board as well. We've kind of randomly distributed these tokens here, and they're all level 1 to begin with, and you match up these color cubes to the left hand side, so brown, grey, orange, and it's a pet hate, but they've managed to put a white and a grey which look very similar. I get it, you want to have very cool looking colors for an industry game, but could have made them a little bit distinguished in my opinion. But anyway, moving on. You've got this development track around here where you're going to be moving your transportation, getting bonuses, and hopefully getting up here to get loads of victory points at the end. You're going to be moving this cargo with your transport. You've got trucks, you've got trains, and you've got these boats. And I'll go through them in a little bit more detail shortly. You've got some locations, and if you can try and utilize those during your trading, those specific locations, you're going to get bonuses which get you up here more, which is nice. And you've got your player board, and you've got 3 rounds, and you've got 4 actions in each round. And there's a little bit of a sort of index as to what you can do on your go. So let's kick off then. The first player has been allocated an extra truck, should we call it. So that'll be first. Second player, it's got a train here. So you're kind of getting a little extra perk, a little transportation, as you determine from round to round who is the furthest on the trucks, who's the furthest on the trains, who's furthest on the ships there. So whoever's furthest will sort of determine your turn order there. And in a 4-player game, you'll utilize this little spot. You get a bonus of any transportation you want. So there's a little bit of setup in terms of you're going to be getting one of these random locations. You're going to be from reverse turn order picking one of these names to put one of your trading posts out there. Once you've done that, you take 2 contracts as well and you keep one of them, and I'll give you a demonstration of what a few of them do as well. So in this sort of 2-player setup, we have got 2 yellow trading posts out there and 2 blue. Now what are these trading posts? They're kind of like your starting bases as to where you can move goods from. So blue can move these orange goods to a target city. And as you move into a target city, you're going to need various transportation to do so. And you can see you've got all these little rail networks here. They're rails, but allegedly these little lorries can ride on them as well. You've also got artwork on the back for wagons, so maybe that's for the other side of the board, looks more thematic. But anyway, you're going to be moving along these rail tracks, and you can also go through these little port symbols, which are quite small, but there's loads of ports, and you can transport goods that way. So let's say yellow's at first, and yellow wants to move this grey cube to a location that hopefully has a name here. London, good example, right? London. And Amsterdam as well, right? Perfect example. So they want to move this white cube to London. Do they have a trading city at the supply source, which is known as? Yes, they've got a trading city. Target city, does it need a white cube? Yes, it does. You can see it needs a white cube there. So try and differentiate between the left, which is the goods they have and they're looking to ship out elsewhere, and the right, which is kind of the demand. So we are going to ship this white cube here, and what's the quickest way we can get to London? So there's no actual port at London, believe it or not, and Amsterdam does. So we're going to have to go through train or the trucks there. So we're going to go 1 here, 2 there. We've transported our good to London. Excellent. But have we got the transportation methods? Well, we have. We've got 2 trucks here. Now each truck is going to be 1 movement, and it reminds you on the card as well. A train can move you 1 or 2 spots, which is really nice. And the ships can move anywhere from 1 port to the other. So literally this port in Athens could go to Rome. That's it, it's moved the good. Or 1 here all the way around to Oslo, for example. That is 1 movement. So there's a lot of sort of, not flexibility, but you can go further distances with the ships, and rightfully so, because they're a bit harder to attain. Okay, so we are going to use this train card then. So we discard that. I've kind of got a supply just out of camera view, and we have gone 1, 2, we've fulfilled the transportation requirements. Now on the transport itself, it's got this kind of little development symbol which matches here. That now means you can move your train one spot in this case. And this is an interesting part of the game, this development track. You can start off by choosing the top row or the bottom, and you're going to get bonuses by either landing on or passing these. So you're going to get an extra lorry card here, which improves your capabilities to transport stuff. This one is take one of these cards, and it'll become apparent as to why you want these shortly. Not only are they 5 victory points each at the end of the game, but it means you can start targeting them again and again and get these extra bonuses. This one's getting a train, you've got ship cards, and you've got contract cards. So you can take a host of 2 contracts, pick one, discard the other, and more contracts I have found in my plays have been very lucrative for the win. Okay, so they have played a train. Yellows are going to move. Let's say we go to the bottom track here. We've hit a bonus. We're going to take an extra train card, pop that in front of us. Now all this information is visible. Everyone can see that. You've also got these city locations which are visible, and your contracts are actually disclosed. You shouldn't be showing those, but I'm going to show you mine shortly. Okay, so we have used the train and we're there. We then take this good, pop it to the side of the board somewhere, and put your trading post on that particular colour resource, which is white in this case. You now have a kind of affiliation, or you've done some trading with London, and you can put one of your trading posts there. Excellent. And you have also got some bonuses to look out for. So in this case, the target city and the supply city were in the display here. And if you do have cards in your own hand as well, which have those names on, then great. That's why you want to keep some cards and cities in your hand, because if you target those city names again and again and again, you get more bonuses. Whereas if an opponent takes these, well, you can't use those for bonuses again. So we've hit London. Excellent. London is a visible city. Amsterdam is a visible city. So we're getting 2 bonuses. Now, you have to apply those to transport methods you've used in this turn. In this case, I've used a train, so I have to go 1, 2 up on my train. I've also gained a bonus of a ship. Now, if I'd hypothetically used a ship and a lorry in my turn, I could distribute those bonuses amongst them. And that is pretty much my go. So my opponent is up next, and I'm just going to take one of their tokens. They are going to distribute, let's say, an orange here over to Vienna. So they place one of their trading posts on orange. They've satisfied the requirements. This has moved over, and it's 1 link here. So they're going to spend, let's say they spend a lorry, and they take a movement up on their lorry. They're going to go the top row this time. Was there any bonuses? I didn't even look before it. So Vienna, is Vienna out there? No. Is Frankfurt out there? Yes. So they are getting 1 bonus, and they have to use that on the lorry, which attains them another lorry card there. Now, this is kind of all on your board here as to the bonuses you're keeping an eye out for. So you can see, to move up the actual development track, you need to get bonuses from your transportation. Each one has their own little icon there. Now, to note, the actual ship has 2 on there, so don't forget to use 2. Also, when you hit a target location or a supply location, that's what the symbology is reminding you of. And also, if you manage to flip one of these tiles, which I'll go through in a sec, you could potentially get an extra bonus there if there's no cubes on it. So the next player's going to go, that's yellow again. They're like, okay, I want to move this orange cube here over to Paris. They budge that there. They put their token on here. They need 1 spot there, so they're going to use a lorry. They discard that one, put the cube here. And have they used London and Paris? London is a visible name. Paris isn't, so they've gained 1 bonus on their lorry. And they're going to go on the top row this time. And have they flipped it? No. Have they got any other bonuses there? I don't believe. Oh, they've actually got the lorry itself, so they're going to get 1 more lorry. So don't forget to look at your transport. So we've gained an extra lorry. And then the next player goes, and you keep going until you've utilised all these 4 here. And I've just spotted, I've actually got 5 on there. So my mistake, should have only been 4. But eventually you're going to have 4 turns in a round. Boom, that is empty. And you end the turn with a kind of refresh phase. Now what's going to happen during the refresh? You see who has the furthest lorry. So in this case, let's just say yellow was. So yellow goes here, and they're going to get a bonus lorry card as represented here, and they'll be first in turn order. You then look who has the highest train next. And it can't be yellow because yellow's already, bagsied the truck one there. So it's going to be blue in this case, obviously. So that's the turn order. Now on a higher player count, you're looking who's got the highest lorry, then the train, then the ship, and whoever's last is last and gets a choice of whatever they want. And then you start again. You go through round 2. Once you've done round 2, you go through round 3. And eventually you're going to do some scoring. Now, scoring, really easy. You're going to look at where your transportation has ended up at. Maybe your truck's here, and you've got your train there and your ship there. You're only going to score this one here for 12 points because these haven't quite made it to the scoring track. So as you go along here, you've come off this track, you enter this sort of crossway point, you then pick and choose, am I going to go for the top track or the bottom track? Once you get here, you then again pick and choose, and eventually you're going to land on it and you're just going to start working your way up for more and more points. The second thing you're going to score is these level 3 cards. So at the moment, we're all on level 1. So how are you going to get to level 2? Well, let's say yellow has done some trading on Frankfurt here. As soon as you've got 2 trading posts there, they flip over here. You get rid of any cubes. Now, if there were no cubes, that is a perfect flip, and you get an extra bonus up here, as I said before. So you flip this, and it's now a level 2. You replenish the cubes again, so you got 2 more orange, and then eventually 2 more people, well, if they decide to, will go to this spot, having delivered those goods. You will immediately flip it once those 2 spots are occupied. And in this case, you've gone from a level 2 to a level 3. Now, level 3 cities are the only ones that can score you points. And it's 3 points per trading city there. If you worked really hard in spreading your trading posts and you haven't actually flipped any of these, well, you ain't getting any points. So just bear that in mind. The next thing you get is 5 points for each of these city cards in your hand, which is quite nice because, as I say, if you can keep a load of those here, then you've got more names that are in your possession and you can target those cities again and again to get more bonuses. So it's kind of this aspect of doing well here, your transportation, to get more out, to go up here, to get potential points here and more bonuses. So a little bit of a sort of engine there. And the last thing is your contract. So I haven't really touched on the contracts. Now you can attain one of these at the beginning of the game from the 2 you've been handed, and there's various symbols here to attain more. Now, some of them are all about having the longest route, depending on how many players. Other ones are, if you have a blue city and a green city, and you've got combos of those, depending on how many combos, unlimited, you can get 3 points for each one. Some yellow, if you've got 4 yellow locations, and that's the colours here, not the city cards. If it's to do with a city card, it'll have a kind of black outline around it. I doubt I can probably find one, but they're in here somewhere. But just try not to get confused between, a red and a green isn't these, it's the actual colours on the board. So loads of contracts, you score those, add up all your points and see who the winner is. Right then, what do I think? Now this game doesn't blow you away. It's not the best game ever, but pick up and deliver wise, if you're a fan of that mechanic, this has it in bundles, and it actually has some slight variations. I really like this development track. It's something to keep you thinking about during your decision process, because yes, you're moving goods here and there, the goods will dwindle, these will flip over, and at certain points you'll be like, well, how am I actually going to progress here? And that's where, if you can't actually do anything, there is an alternative action, because you have to get rid of one of these at some point, either putting it on the board or just discarding it. So if you do have to discard it, you have a choice. Am I going to refill one of these spots where my trading house is, say for example here, and reload the goods there, which gives you potential flexibility to then move those goods? Or you could actually take one each of the transportations, because maybe you've just spent all your transport and you're like, how do I get more? So that is an alternative sort of backup option. Now, where was I? I was talking about moving up here. Yeah, it's great. You can pick and choose. You're like, right, which track am I going to go up here? Sometimes you're like, right, I want to go for these actual city cards because they're 5 victory points. But then if you go down the bottom track, you can see you can get the contracts, and those might give you nothing if you get 2 bad contracts, which are all about synergizing red and blue cities, and you're all in the green. You're like, oh, it's kind of a waste. I should have just gone on the top track there. These are variable. They kind of slot out. They've got A0 or A1 to 6, so you can mix and match those. There's some Bs as well, potentially there for the other side. And yeah, it's just fun going up here. This, you get some points from if you can. I've never seen anyone quite get to the top, but you know, you're going up in 2 increments. But is that the most efficient way? Is that more just a sidekick of doing other stuff and you're going up here anyway? I found the contracts have been definitely the most lucrative. If you've got 4 or 5 of them, some of them you reveal, you're like, okay, excellent. I just get 10 points for having ownership of 5 city cards. You've already achieved it. Boom, 10 points. Some give you 12 points or 6 points, depending on how many cities you can occupy. If you can occupy something like 6 of the yellow cities, which is on one of my targets, I got 12 points. And then the last main area for flipping, for getting those points is flipping these tiles. You flip them over to level 2, and if you do get to level 3, that's 12 points if you've got all 4 of your trading posts there. So very nice. Now, a few little quirks I'm not a massive fan of, I've already alluded to it, is the white and the grey. Just make it obvious colours what they are, but after a while you can kind of get used to it. Another pet hate in this game is the lorry symbol. I don't understand why this lorry here looks like that, like a modern day little truck. And then the actual card's got, you know, a 1900s type vehicle and then an ancient wagon. I just don't quite get the use of these pieces of art. Same with the trucks. Maybe it's just a bolt onto the kickstart. I don't know. Component wise, these are a little bit frustrating, putting these all stacked on your board and they're all falling over the place, and God forbid any of you just accidentally do anything like this. So yes, the components, there could have been some better choices in my opinion, but the look of it, it looks nice. You know, all fits together. You got this kind of nice velvety board bag, which is not really used for much other than just distributing the tiles. But you have got some variation in this game, guys. You have got clan abilities. So you've got 5 different clans, and I have tried a couple of them. They are nice. They add, a few extra things to think about. For example, I haven't actually played that one. This one here blocks a city from other opponents using it. So as you get your token, you'll have a free choice to put this somewhere, maybe at Vienna. This is red, that's yellow, I appreciate that. But yeah, the red one would go out, and then you can spend these cubes. So in this game, you notice the cubes are coming off. They were just kind of going into a supply to stock them back up. But in the actual clan abilities, you keep any cubes you've acquired, and you spend 2 at a time to move this. So you could move this to another location, or in this case, spend 2 to move your train 1 extra spot when you do some transportation by the looks of it. I've seen this one in play, which wherever your token is, that is now a port. So Moscow, for example, was utilized in a game I played where that then became a port, which meant you could move the cubes there more efficiently. You could also spend 2, and they all do this. You spend 2 cubes to move your token. And this one was 2 cubes to, what was that? Get an extra ship or something. And the one I used in my game was the yellow one, which is actually on the other side of here. And this one was all about spending 2 to gain an extra transport card, the lorry in this case. And I could also use any 2 transport cards to move anywhere on the board, which I didn't actually get to use. It wasn't that powerful. Now, I'm going to absolutely sabotage this board now, because I want to quickly show you this mythical landscape on the other side. So here we go. Maybe it's a real part of the world, I'm not sure, but you've got these circle areas, you can go and utilize some tokens. The geography of it obviously is slightly different. So yeah, there's those options as well. So overall, there is a lot to like. It's a nice package for a pick up and deliver a game, and there's a few nice twists, and it really does make you and your opponents think about, how am I going to get this to there? And it's fairly straightforward at the beginning because you can achieve a lot. But gradually as the game goes on, and especially with some of them clan abilities where players can pick up other cubes from other locations and they don't have to worry about colour, in that case, that can affect your game, because cubes you were relying on to achieve this goal and that goal have gone. And then you have a decision of, right, I have to discard one of these and not take a go just to replenish some cubes on the board. So there is a very tight gameplay aspect to point scoring. And you know, most of my games have been between the sort of 85 to 100 mark. So every player's been around that range, and it's accumulative. You're not losing loads of points here and there. You're just gaining, which is a nice, satisfying feeling. And that's good. It's a tight, close game. You're never quite sure who's got it because you've got those contracts which are hidden. But I like how you got this open information with the transportation. And there's different strategies. You can also go like small spots from one spot here to the next city, and you've spent one card and been efficient over that use of transport. Or you could go all out and use like all of these cards, and then you're bumping up here in loads of different ways. As long as you've got a source to get more transport, which you might be attaining from these bonuses here, then excellent. You've got more cards and you can go heavy on a big route there. There's a couple of finite things to be mindful of where, for example, you have to always use the shortest route. You can't be sneaky and like split a train with two transport, one here, use a ship and then another one. So you have to be careful over how you're utilizing that transport. But overall, I like it. I definitely play it again. I'm looking forward to trying a bit more of the clan abilities and maybe this side here. So yes, there we are. Cargo Empire. Enjoy.